G'day guys, I think we'll get started now that we've got quite a few people online. Firstly, welcome to our second Jimbo webinar. My name is Mike Davenport and tonight we're going to take a look at how users of Jim's Jobs can switch to the Jimbo app. We'll also discuss what's imported from Jim's Online, and then we'll take a look around the app, take a little bit of a tour, and just pointing out some of the differences that the app can provide you compared to Jim's Jobs. So this session tonight is just looking at a little bit more of the people who are using Jim's Jobs. The session will be similar to that of last night, so I noticed we have got a couple of people back from last night, so we will go over some of the same information, but then we'll also try and expand that a little bit in terms of just showing some of the benefits of the Jimbo app. Okay, the first thing that we all need to do would be to go to our website, which is www.jimbo-app.com. This is the website for absolutely everything Jimbo. So let's just have a little bit of a look around and see what the website can show us. Take a look at some of the tools. You'll see that the Jimbo app will easily track quotes and invoices for you. It'll help you manage your quotes a lot easier than in the past. With the Jimbo app, you can also create job cards, and it's quite easy to track overdue invoices. The great thing about the Jimbo app compared to probably the Jim's Job system was that it runs on any internet browser and it uses an iPad 4 or later, and that way you get the full Jimbo experience. So you've actually got now a program with you that you can take with you into the field and work whilst you're discussing things with your clients. There's also a little companion called the Little Jimbo, and that sits on your phone, and that does some of the things like GPS. It'll also enable you to text your clients, it'll enable you to email your clients and also to call them at the same time. Just a short part of the tour, because we'll go into the app a little bit later on, is for business owners. It can increase profits in terms of making sure that we're now starting to learn things about our business. It'll give you more time, making sure that you do your work whilst you're out in the field rather than when you're getting home. Sorry, just got to mute everybody there. Able to track your debtors easily, again, saving some time. So instead of coming home and doing half an hour's work at home, you'll be able to do all of this work out in the field at the completion of every job. You'll be able to have up-to-date reports and some analysis, and I think that's where some of our franchisees probably provide the service, give an invoice, collect the money, and that's probably the extent of what a lot of our guys do. I think now what we're able to do, and you'll see the screen here, and I'll show you a little bit later, but there's some of the reports there that we're able to track coming straight out of Jimbo app, and they are current real-time reports. If you, like all computer systems, if you keep it up to date and provide it with the right information, you're going to get some great stuff out of it in that area. You'll also see some of the advantages for guys on the road, managing jobs and schedules by using electronic diaries on the iPad, building up work image folios and attaching to the job. So really encouraging our guys to take pre-photos and then to take post-photos. Taking those photos, emailing them out either with the quote or with an invoice and sending them to the client to say the work's been completed. And also help you there with obviously your quotations, so sending off a quote and saying this is the position of your property at the moment, this is the work that needs required. Generate quotes, invoice and receipts on the go. So again, there you are, you finish the job, tap it out on your iPad, hand it to, email it to the client, and it's all done. And add and manage your customers on and offline in terms of looking after your clients. If we go back up to the top here, I'll just skip the register for Jimbo first. We'll head over to the frequently asked questions. So again, building this website so that when franchisees have some concerns or have some problems, they're able to check out the stuff first from their own position to see if they can answer their own questions first, and then if not, then we can go somewhere else. So you'll see here, they've got a whole list of things around frequently asked questions. So for instance, tonight we're looking at installing the Jimbo app. We've got some information there around how to go about it. It might just be the small piece of information you require just to get you going rather than getting on a phone and seeing what else you need to do. You also find that we've got a heap of tutorials that are also being recorded to again help our franchisees in trying to perhaps fix their own problems before they have to go somewhere else. So you'll see here that we've got quite a number of short videos that have been recorded. These videos here are no longer than 30 or 60 seconds. For instance, this is how to add a client. We're not going to make you sit through 15 minutes of a video and then at the last 2 minutes you go, yeah, that's exactly what I was looking for. What we've tried to do is say, right, let's really break it down into very small pieces and let's give our franchisees exactly what they're looking for. So in this case, how to add a client? Within 30 or 60 seconds, you now know how to do that. How do you edit job descriptions? Bang, you now know how to do that. So we've got about 15 of those being recorded. So we've got quotes. So we've got some different videos around quotes. So creating a quote, emailing the quote, and converting a quote to an invoice. You'll also see that we have our module and our calendar. So we're able to take a look at just some of the questions that do come up with regards to navigating the modules or even just simply viewing the calendar. The other good thing is from here you can also check out the user manual. So quite often people say user manuals are fairly poor, but if I take you down to page 10 just quickly, you'll see here that we've got some great screenshots and we've got some really good quotes around those screenshots to make sure people know exactly what we're talking about when we are looking at the manual. So again, that's the top one there is our front office, and you'll see here that we have our back office. So again, just to quickly explaining, that's our expenses section, keeps track of all your business expenses. You'll also see here quick navigation, and I'll point this out later on, probably more for advanced users, but this little dimple down here enables us to actually look around the system and go to exactly where we wish to go. So there's a bit of a more of a blow-up size of it there. So you'll see our manuals are excellent in that sense, and they're certainly great to read and very, very quick and easy to find out what you're looking for. Just head back to our Jimbo App main page. We've also got a tab at the top, which is obviously for feedback. It says video feedback, but at the same time, we're happy to take any feedback. Some of that video feedback is all around what other videos would people like to see. We think we've got most of them covered, but again, as people tend to come on board, there may be some other ones that are missing, and we can happy to redo some of those videos. Or if you've got some feedback, bang, pop it in here, and then shoot it back to infotech@jims.net. In terms of contact support, I think this is where there's been some really good things happening. In terms of, we now have an external company called Mobilised IT. They're now taking all our front-end inquiries. So this number up here on your screen, it appears on every web page of the Jimbo App, 1300 648 123. That's the number to call, or you can call the 03 8609 2510 number, and you'll speak to a consultant and they'll be able to help you with the problem that you now have. So especially installing the app and getting it onto your app, these guys are excellent in that area. You can also email them, so support@mobiliseit.com. They'll also then respond to your email. If they can't answer it, they will contact the IT department at Jim, and they will make sure that question is answered for you. So that's probably, if Mobilised IT can't answer it, you'll probably find it's a back-end question, and therefore it needs to go to our developers and have a question and an answer come back in that area. One part I would like to point out is that Jimbo support during the Christmas period. The Jim's national office will be closed between the 24th, Wednesday the 24th, all the way through to Monday, January 5th. But Jim's support provider, Mobilised IT, they're actually only taking off our main days. So at the end of the day, these guys certainly will be able to help you. The other point to point out there is Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., and that is Melbourne time. So if you are looking to get some help, it's important you call these guys, and you can also speak to them, but only between the hours of 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. You can also see here that we have a quick link to our user guides. So again, it might be just a quick question you can answer yourself. If you do have any sign-up questions and Jim's Jobs importing questions, and we'll get to some of those shortly, you email infotech@jims.net, and they'll certainly be able to support and help you get this Jimbo app up and running. If you've got any carrier-based issues and you're on our Jim's Optus plan, mobile plan at jims.net, or you can call 0424 159 868. If you're with another carrier, let's say you're with Telstra or somebody else, you'll need to contact them to understand some of the issues that you're having. So they won't be Jimbo issues, they'll be more your carrier situations. Obviously, any payment inquiries, they'll also come from finance@jims.net, so they'll be able to help you there. In terms of registering for Jimbo, this is one of the first steps that if you are using Jim's Jobs, you need to take into account. So the very first thing you would do is obviously come to www.jimbo-app.com, come over here to registration. All you would simply do, you'll see here that we have about 14 divisions that are now available to use the Jimbo app. It's not available for all divisions, so if your division isn't using it or it doesn't appear on this list, certainly contact your franchisor, speak to the divisional and just find out where it's up to. I'm going to log in tonight as myself, so I am going to log in as Jim's Mowing. My name, I'll quickly type that in. Your franchisee code and your email address. Now, the email address it will only recognise is the one that's in your Jim's Online account. So, making sure it's the same one. If it's a different one, you certainly won't get the information. So there's my email address, michael.davenport@jimsmowing.net. You'll need to verify this is a real inquiry. So we've got an F686. Once all that information's in, you can now send that message. So what's now going to take place is that's going to be sent off, and you'll see that the email has been sent successfully. That will now email me all of my details that I require to log into the Jimbo app. Now, the way you do that is that either two ways. One is if you've got your app all set up and you're receiving your email on that app, you can simply click on the link that appears in that email, and that will automatically download it for you. If you don't have your email set up on your app, it's pretty simple. All you need to do is go to this page, www.jimbo-app.com, click on the login screen, and you're able to now click from this in your iPad and automatically download that app. If you are using Jimbo on the web, again, click here and you'll use the details that have just been emailed to you, and that will then help you log in. Sorry, just a bit of background noise. And that will help you log in and start accessing the Jimbo app. The things to remember is that if you are then looking to have your database from Jim's Jobs actually uploaded to the Jimbo app, you'll need to grab the data file. That data file is where your Jim's Job saves to. So at the end of when you log out and it says, hey, do you want to save to the data file? That particular data file needs to be emailed through to infotech@jims.net. Now, when it's uploaded, it doesn't take the history. All it's going to provide is our names and our addresses and phone numbers. Okay, so that's the only data that's going to be updated. When it does go into the Jimbo app, you'll need to then update all the pricing, and you'll also need to update all of the scheduling in that sense. The other thing to remember is that in terms of data from Jim's Online, it actually takes nothing. What I want to point out there is that what it takes anything that's been a lead sent to you from FMS4, which is what our call centre works on, and it's been doing that for the last 2 years. So if you've started 12 months ago, it'll push all of the leads that you've received in the last 12 months. If you started 18 months ago, when the Jimbo app came live, it'll push all of those clients to you as well. Again, if there are any issues around some of that, please email infotech@jims.net. Hopefully your data file's up to date. That would mean that the Jimbo app is ready to go for you straight away. If not, if there are some gaps, then you'll need to manually operate and put those clients in to the system. All right, what we now need to do is, what I'll do is I'm going to log into our test version, our training version tonight with some of the details, and that way we can take a little bit of a look around and just point out some of those differences that are perhaps operating the app compared to Jim's Jobs. So once this loads up, we'll certainly log in and take a look around. Good thing about when you do log in, the system will automatically alter the caps lock. So again, the top is Jim's Group Demo, which is all caps lock. Our username is lowercase, and that'll automatically do that for you along the way. Once we log in, the first thing that you would need to do when you do log in as a user is that you will need, on the left-hand side here, to update all of this information. Once the system logs in, we'll take a look at some of that information for you. So if I come down here to the right-hand corner, you'll see that we've got a little blue dimple. I pointed that out in the manual before. Again, this enables us to go to any part of the system. I'm going to click on Settings because I want to access the area that I need to actually set up. So, the great thing about this system is we can set up performance targets. So, as you can see here, if we log on here, I've got my starting month in as December 2014. I've said that I want to do 50 jobs a month. Again, you will do whatever you think is required for your business. I put a monthly revenue in there of $8,000, and I'm saying that I want to work 120 paid hours per month. So that's the detail I've put in there. Again, feel free to put any information in there that you like, and that information can be changed as you're going forward as well. So if you're finding that you're either achieving targets or you're not, you might have to readdress some of those. You do need to save it, so each section needs to be saved on its own. Some of the business information you'll put in there, obviously things like your ABN. If you do have a license, things like our electrical trades and our plumbing trades will have licenses, so they'll be able to put those details in there. They may have a registration number as well. And again, all of this information will then be provided on our quotations and our invoices. Quick look at the billing address. Pretty straightforward. You need to put in there all of your details around your company. You may also need to put in there just the postal address for where clients can perhaps send things to you. Making sure you put in your bank details, your account name, name of the bank, BSB number and account number, and again saving all of those as you finish with them. The last one that we can do also in terms of our general settings is that we can provide a standard invoice note across all invoices. So on this occasion, being coming into Christmas, I've put in there Merry Christmas, and that will apply to every single invoice that I send out. Now again, you can change that message, and I can also remove that message once Christmas has passed. What we're encouraging franchisees to do is use some of that note section as part of an upsell. So you may be emailing that to your client and then turning around and providing an upsell for your services along the way. So again, it's just a little extra add-on that you can use. All right, the other button I want to point out is at the top left-hand corner, and you'll see here it's like a little house. That'll now take us to our front office. So we have two offices basically that we call it within the Jimbo app. This is at what we call our front office. If I click and drag quickly, I've now got a back office. Again, I can click and drag that back. If you can't click and drag, sometimes the mouse is a little difficult to use, you can use the keyboard, the arrows on the keyboard, to simply go back and forth. A quick look here, again the brochure. Now, because we're accessing the online version, unfortunately the brochure isn't available, but it is available on the iPad version. So when you are out in the field, we're encouraging our franchisees to use this brochure as part of their sales process. Get to the front door, have a chat to the client, and talk about all the other services that you do provide. Because it's a glossy brochure, it'll be designed by your divisional franchisor, and that'll be applied for all franchisees within that division. They will provide the updates, so you can't access it yourself. But again, talking to the clients and just showing them some of the different features that you provide in your business. Click on Close. I think where this is a standout compared to perhaps Jim's Jobs here is we've got our folio where we can take some photos. So for instance, you've rocked up to do a quote, take a photo of the property or the job, whatever it may be, and you can simply attach that also to a quote and email it off. Vice versa, when the job's done, you're able to then take photos and send them with the invoice to the client. It may well be to a real estate agent, or it may be an interstate client that may have an investment property in one of the other states. So you can see here we've just got a couple of little photos here. We can click on those. You know, got a little franchisee there hard at work. That's part of the shot, so we're sort of doing some of that work. And if we take a look and swipe it across, there's the finished product. So again, just being able to show your clients some of the work that you've done, I'm sure will go quite well with some of your quotations and invoices. So again, it's just an added extra that it's starting to provide a very professional outlook for our franchisees to our clients. Here's some of the work. This is what I can do. Okay, I'll click back on those, go back on the house. Just as it loads up, we'll take you to the next section. So we've got here our invoices. And you'll see here that we'll have all of our invoices loaded down the left-hand side of the screen. I think where the iPad app really does start to kick in is, let's just say for whatever reason, you may have a cancelled client at 2 o'clock, so you might have an hour to waste before the next client at, say, 3 o'clock. It may be raining, so you can't get out and work. So therefore, you've now got all your information in the car with you that you can actually do a little bit of admin while you're sitting there waiting. So for instance, here's our quotations. So I've got all these down the left-hand side. At the click of a button, I can actually also look at all of my invoices. So you'll see here that we've got some invoices that have been paid, so that's great. But if I click on this little button down here where it says owing, it's now going to provide me with all of the outstanding invoices that people are required to pay. If it is wet, if I can't work, if I've got a little bit of downtime, I can simply quickly contact this client, Adam Christensen, follow him up. Whether I send him an email, a text, or call him, I'm able to say, mate, there's a $15 balance. When do I likely receive that payment? So again, just following up your clients, doing a little bit of admin work whilst you're in the field, whilst you're not working. Most of that work would need to be done at home, and sometimes when we do get home, we're just that little bit tired to push and get those extra jobs done. You'll also see down the bottom here we have a search function, so we can actually search around whether we want to find a customer or whether we want to find an invoice number. We can give it a date range, and we can do a search as well. You'll also see down the bottom here we have 3 little files, and these are all the reports that Jim's Jobs could do for us. I think the great thing about the Jimbo app is that, yep, it's providing all the same reports, but also we're then going to have a whole reporting section at the end that I'm going to show you that is certainly going to blow you away in terms of real-time reporting. So all of those can be done. They're CSV files. They can be saved to an Excel spreadsheet and then emailed out, or you can just click on those. If you are using your iPad, you can automatically email out. It'll also pre-populate the email address if you're in a customer's box. Otherwise, if you are online and using the online version, simply save it to your PC and then email it out perhaps through your email system, something like Outlook. Again, you can save that to PC and you can print those, or you can edit as well. Because of the online version, this is our training version. There's just a little bit of a bug in that. That particular invoice there should be actually shown on the screen. It does happen in the actual real version, so in the live version that you'll be using, it certainly will appear on this side of the screen. Quick click back here. You'll also have down the bottom section here where all of the inquiries will come to. So the other good thing about the Jimbo app is we're now going to get the client details sent to our Jimbo app. In the past, they would have been sent to your phone or an email address, and then what you had to do is manually load those into Jim's Jobs. It's been a complaint for a long time. We've now got a system where we can actually have leads sent from FMS4 straight into the Jimbo app. So what this is saying here is we've got 7 new leads that have been sent to us, 7 new inquiries, and those client details, what we've taken through the call centre, are now sitting on our system ready to go. The next one down is our in progress, and again, this number here will vary a little bit depending on your business, but what it's going to calculate is all of the jobs that you have in progress or scheduled. So if I scheduled a client for every 2 weeks for the next 12 months, there's 26 jobs that will be in the system loaded, ready to go. So it's part of my schedule that this is doing. And again, then you've got the archive, which is all the finished jobs and dead jobs that you might have. Come over here to our maps, and you'll see here that this is just a little visual representation of your business. When you get into the system and this becomes your system, what you'll see is that we're able to run some reports around all of your clients. So for instance, down the bottom screen here we have inquiries, so there's none around this area at the moment. If I click on schedule though, we should have something pop on the screen. Oops, it's taken us back. So again, there's our inquiries and our schedules. It is around the country, so I'll just keep drilling that down into our smaller section. I can click on where my quotes are, and I can also then click on invoices and complete it. So I can run a number of different jobs. If I now zoom in here, I'm able to get a bit more of a visual representation of where my clients perhaps are. Again, this is the training version, so these clients are quite well spread. But if you take the general principle, I could probably start to say, okay, this is where the majority of my work is. So I could set up gyms online to reflect a lot of that. I'd probably have to question, if I was a franchisor, why is someone travelling all the way out here to Ballarat? Now again, depending on your division, that may well be a worthwhile job. So I won't make too many comments in that area, but you can sort of see that by just simply drilling in, you can really start to build your gyms online and make sure you're building your business around the areas where you want to try and work. It's going to save time, save travel, and save some of your expenses as well. Okay, quickly click back here. And it'll take us back, and we'll then go to the back office and have a little bit of a look around as well. One thing I want to point out also with the Jimbo app, if you do forget your password, all you need to do is go back to our www.jimbo-app.com site, re-register, and the same details will come back to you. So you can do that as many times as you like. So if you are a forgetful person, a little bit like myself, the system will continue to just push that back out via an email, and you're then able to log back in. Okay, if I go to the back office, we take a quick look at our expenses. You'll see here that the day will load up every single day. So we'll see across the top here, I've got Tuesday the 16th of December. I can simply add in an item quite quickly and easily. So if I click add item, if I go to here and I type in, let's say fuel, I can select fuel from my list. I can also then take the invoice number that was on the invoice that I received, so that paper receipt that I got. I'll turn around and say it was $66. I paid it on my credit card. I won't put any notes around that job. The great thing about the system is now though, if I clicked on this, if I had my iPad, doesn't certainly work online, but if I had my iPad, I'd be able to take a photo of that tax invoice. So therefore I can keep that as a record. I'd still encourage franchisees to be keeping some of their paperwork, but as you become more confident in it, to then let them go, and you've now got a photo. So you can certainly clean up a lot of the paperwork in your business with regards to some of the Jimbo app applications. Down the bottom here you can also see that we've got a CSV file. So if I clicked on that, that would pre-populate straight into an email, and I would send that to my bookkeeper or my accountant, and they would have all that detail. That particular CSV file will automatically upload into a MyOb, into a QuickBooks, or whatever financial package your bookkeeper / accountant is actually using. You can also see across the bottom, again, we've got a search content, so we're able to search for different things in different date ranges as well. So again, it's a pretty good system in that sense. I think it's a lot cleaner than the gym's job system, but like all systems too, you certainly get used to them, and even if they are a little bit awkward, you find a way around that. I think this system though, in terms of our expenses, is far cleaner than the gym's job system ever was with regards to our expenses. You would save that, and again, you can build on that throughout the day, and when I get up tomorrow morning, I'll then have Wednesday the 17th ready to enter any expenses that are required. Click back on the home button. And I think this is an area that starts to really blow some people away with what the Jimbo app can provide you in some of its reporting structure. Now again, remembering that a system is only as good as what you provide it. If you're only going to put in 50% of your work, well, you're only going to get 50% results back out at the other end. As you can see when this loads, we've got two types of reports that we can run. So we've got our revenue reports here on the left, and you've got then performance reports on the right-hand side. If you take a little look at your revenue performance, here's our average profit per job. So again, by setting up the details, setting it up in our settings and providing all of the information required, we can see here that this particular franchisee his average profit per job is $299.26. It's a pretty powerful tool in terms of average profit per job. Come over here, we've got revenue versus gross profit. We can click on that for 1 week, we can click on that for 1 month, we can alter that to 3 months or year to date. We can also got some little sliders along the bottom here that we can pick a range of where we want to look at as well. So again, when that becomes your business, it really starts to give you some great information around what you're looking for. You also see down here we've got our expenses, and again, we've got a simple pie chart. If we click on that, if I double click on that, you can blow that up to full-size screen and have a really good look at where the expenses are going in your business. I think most people probably would read a sheet of paper with a heap of numbers on it, and it probably wouldn't make a lot of sense. At the end of the day, this pie chart can certainly help to see where your expenses are going. So this guy here obviously has a loan repayment. 95% of his expenses are his loan repayment in that sense. Click on the X. And again, you've got another one down the bottom here, revenue versus expenses. And again, it's just giving you some charts to work with. We take a look at the performance. And as you'll see when that loads, the performance is based on some of the information we set up in our settings. So when we first did that and logged on, that's going to grab some of that information and apply it into some of these reports. So you'll see here we've got some job targets. We set it at 50. We're currently tracking at 7. Again, that's up to you guys to decide if that's the right amount for your month or week or whatever you need it to do. You can see here we've got some job sources as well. This becomes an important part where franchisors are actually spending their advertising money. So if we can get some detail around that sort of information, it means that we can actually target where we are spending the right amount of money. Obviously, newspapers are working in some areas, but again, online's becoming a far greater hit for us and probably a larger percentage. But again, that also depends on state by state. It also depends on your local area. The job status, here's a report here. This is also where our inquiries come into. So you'll see it's just another graphical representation. We've got our jobs in process. Again, we've got a little slider here that we can pull it up and have a good look at a certain selected area. And we can also click on our year to date to find out what we're actually doing. Down the bottom here becomes 2 good points as well. Average revenue per job. Again, we've got a franchisee here in terms of $270 average revenue per job. And the group average, it looks like it's about the same. So if a franchisor was to help franchisees with their business, you'd be able to turn around and say, okay, well, hang on a sec, this looks like it's doing well. But if I come over to this point here, this graph, you can see here that the average time spent per job is about 4 hours compared to the group average being about 1 hour. And again, these are some of the reports that Jim's Jobs has never been able to provide. Jim's Jobs has been a really good system, but at the same time, the Jimbo app now takes over and takes precedence. I think the other thing to point out about the Jimbo app is it is far more supported than Jim's Jobs ever was. So now we have Mobilised IT, which is an external company. Mobilised IT can answer most of your questions. If they can't, we can certainly go back to infotech@jims.net and they will answer your question. And again, if they can't answer the question, they will go back to the developer and they will certainly get the right answer at that point. So you can see that we've got far more support around the Jimbo app than we ever did with Jim's Jobs. If you ever rang Jim's Jobs or look for some support, it was fairly basic support in that area. And it was certainly something that needed to be improved. Click back here on the house and I'll head back to my library. The library is where all of your manuals and all of the brochures will be. So again, it's not available online, but it certainly is on your iPad. All of those are accessible when you're out in the field. If you need to look up something around your OH&S manual or your policy, you've got that information there at your fingertips. I'll quickly click on Customers. And I'll just go through a couple of areas that I just want to show you how quick and easy it is to use. Again, not compared to Jim's Jobs. It was a very good program, but again, this is certainly a great program, and it is quite easy to use in that sense. I put in a client just before, and I'll do a quick search, and I put in Tom Jones. Some of the things I just want to point out is when we take a look at our scheduling, Jim's Jobs would have looked out, say, 60 days, and it was a rolling 60 days. In terms of the Jimbo app, we're now looking at 2 years. So what will happen is, with 1 month prior to go of that scheduled zone, it'll actually pop on your screen and say, hey, would you like to reschedule Tom Jones? Your answer at that point is yes or no. Okay, whereas the Jimbo app, the Jim's Jobs would continue to just keep that scheduled and alive. We take a look here at Tom Jones. I want to point out that all we need to do is set up a simple job, and I'll quickly set one up here right now. So I'll make that a Mo regular job, and I'll simply put in an appointment date of today, and you'll see we've got that there. If I put in a number here, let's say $55, that particular number there will apply to every quotation or invoice that I pull up with regards to Tom Jones. That can be edited, that can be changed, but that works really well when you have got regular client bases. So that means you don't have to, it's just reducing that typing that you have to do. If I click on Save, you'll see now that I've set up a job card in that sense. What I might do quickly here is just show you also how to add a quote, how simple and quick and easy it can be. So as it loads, you'll see that we have these buttons at the top. The really simple thing is that once we provide a quotation, we can quickly switch that to an invoice without changing it, and we can email that off, edit it, and take a payment as quick and easy as it is. You'll see here that we've got our Jim's Group logo. Again, that will be your logo for your division. We've got the client details here. And there's that Mo regular job at $55, ready to go. I can edit that if I like, but at this point I'm going to leave it as it is. There's my Merry Christmas invoice note, which is in my invoice notes at the moment. And again, I can change that, and we're able to make that whatever we would like it to. You'll see down here we've our warranty and our terms, and at the moment we have owing $55 in terms of a quotation. If this was on the iPad, I would be able to email that out directly straight away to my client. Because it is on the online version, I would need to save that to PC, and then I could email that out through my Outlook scenario. Okay, the other point we'll head out and take a look at. So this is going to take me back to our jobs. And what I will do is just take us back to our clients. Quickly click on here. Pass that over. We're just going to have a quick look at some of our scheduling here. So I'm going to pull back up Tom Jones, type him in the top here. Bang. I'll quickly show you just how easy it is to provide a schedule for a client. So we go back here to our job. So we've got our job card here. I now want to add a schedule. So we want to set up a job appointment. So again, we've got another pricing scenario here that we can fill in if we require. Here's all of the jobs on the 17th, and these are all the jobs that I've already got. So prior to actually scheduling a job, I'm able to take a quick look at whether I can actually fit it in on that particular day. Obviously, because it's a training module, you'll see that there's quite a few jobs in there. For this instance, though, we will say yes. So this section here starts to talk about, is it a recurring job? If I click on that little box, you'll see that it now shows that we've got some other options. Where Jim's Jobs probably struggled was it didn't allow us to do weekly, monthly, and yearly. You might have been able to play around with it, but this system will quite easily now show you how to do weekly, monthly, and yearly. So for instance, you might have a service that's every 12 months. I'm able to say that I want that every 1 year, and I could click one of these particular months. So for instance, if I said every year in June, that would be provided in my schedule. So for different services, that will work well. If I click on monthly, you'll see here that I can change that to every 2 or 3 months or up to 12 months, and I can pick a certain day, a date on the month, that I can actually service that job. So if I said the 30th of every month, that would appear in my schedule on the 30th of every month. If I take it back here to our weekly scenario, I'm able to now say, right, let's make that every 2 weeks, and I will service that job on a Wednesday. I'm also now down the bottom here, when does it repeat to? I can turn around and say, right, I'll put that out to the 30th of the 12th, and I'll make the year 2016. So that's now pretty much scheduling it out for 12-month period. If I click on Save, you'll see here that we've now got, we should have around 26 jobs, 25 jobs scheduled in, ready to go. Just wait for that to load. And in the actual client screen, should pick up the number of jobs that are now scheduled in. Let's have a look. Sorry, it might just be my internet connections. It's a little slow. So you can see that it's quite easy to do some scheduling, and it does give us that range of what needs to be done. Okay, what it's saying is I've got 54 jobs loaded in with regards to my schedule. So you can see there that these jobs here now are all of the jobs going forward in terms of the jobs I've just scheduled in. The other thing you can do is attach images as well, so you can take photos of your clients, maybe a client property, it may be something about a service, it may be, if you're in the antenna division, it might be a certain mounting point that is a reference point. So again, you can certainly take photos to represent your clients. You can also, up here, you've got, that's part of your GPS location, so we know exactly where the client is, and it's able to link that into the little Jimbo app, and you're able to click on that in your car and take you to the client's house. So it works really well when you get brand new leads coming in and you're able to quickly access that. So we've got Google Maps, you've got images, and you can also have multiple locations in terms of site addresses. So we can have more than one address per client per property as well. So again, it may work well for your business. You just need to work that out and make sure that you can manipulate that to make sure it's exactly what you're looking for. So we've gone through some of the scheduling. We've looked at some of the clients. So you can see that it starts to build up a pretty good system. We've talked about some of those visual graphs. We've talked about also some of the financial reports. So it provides absolutely everything that the Jimbo app does in that sense. I think where also some of the Jimbo app really does play a part is that it is cloud-based. So therefore, I know myself, I had a couple of issues where my laptop wouldn't fire up, so I'd lost all my data. Now, I was lucky enough to do a recovery, but because this is all cloud-based, everything backs up into the cloud. If you lose your iPad tomorrow, bang, you can get a new iPad the next day and actually download your information ready to go. So it's all backed up by the cloud. It's also mobility. So where Jim's Jobs was more of a system that would sit at home, your iPad app is now going to be out in the field with you. So again, just trying to get all your paperwork up to date and done by the end of the day. You know, technically, if you've got your paper, you're on top of your paperwork, you could drive home on the 30th of June, take a full tank of petrol, throw it in your expenses, and email that off, that CSV file off to your accountant or bookkeeper and say, hey, here's my expenses for the end of financial year. I think it really does help with your sales presentations. So again, going back to our brochure, it really becomes a powerful tool for our franchisees talking to our clients. You can also receive leads, which I think, again, it just saves us retyping that information back into the system. Yes, there might be a few little issues when you're first loading up, but once you start to use the system, those clients will be in there automatically. It's on multiple devices as well, so you've got your online version at home, you've got your iPad, you've got your little Jimbo on your phone, and again, it's talking to each other. And again, it just means that you've got really great access to your clients. And I think on top of all that, one of the most important things is there is far more support around the Jimbo app than there's ever been in anything that we've had. All right, guys. I'm going to wrap it up for tonight. That's just a really good session there about how to get your clients and perhaps transfer from Jim's Jobs onto the Jimbo app. It's certainly a great program, and I certainly wish everybody the best. If there are any questions from tonight, please email infotech@jims.net, and they'll certainly answer any further questions that you may have. Thanks, guys, and look forward to catching up with you soon.